Once upon a time, there was an old arcade game called the Ninja Warriors. It was made by Taito and employed a unique strategy of using 3 side-by-side monitors to widen the scope of the action. This led to a Super NES sequel that was also named The Ninja Warriors and set 7 years after the arcade game. Now, a quarter century later, we get the Ninja Saviors Return of the Warriors, an HD remake of the Super NES game that not only comes with a new name, but also more moves, playable characters, and modes. It's the best version of the Ninja Warriors yet, but a large part of me wishes that this was a proper sequel and not an upgraded port. Bangler the Tyrant has once again used his power and influence to seize control and spread his dictatorial regime across the world. The government forces have tried to defeat Bangler but have failed in every attempt. They're obviously left with no other choice than to call up the Ninja Warriors, a squad of self-aware ninja robots that are more than equipped to fight through wave after wave of enemy forces and detain the dictator. It may be a suicide mission, but it's the last shot we have to take out Bangler before it's too late. The Ninja Warriors consist of a female ninja dressed all in red known as Kunoichi, her blue and brawny companion called Ninja, and then there's a lean and mostly naked robot that goes by the name Kama Itachi. This version also introduces 2 new fighters, including a short and stout woman named Yaksha and a massive mechanical shinobi that goes by Raiden. Each of these heroes have their own unique special attack and combos, and there are definitely pros and cons to each fighter. Now, for the most part, the game is about walking from left to right and slashing Bangler's guards and robots. Much like the Super NES game, this is a straightforward beat-em-up where there are only a few types of enemies and we use the same 3 or 4 moves to beat them all up. We're given a few extra moves beyond the standard attack, including a rushing move, a ground assault, and a special move that'll quickly charge up as long as you're not hit. By holding the up button, our heroes will be able to unleash a unique character-specific move that'll help take out bosses and swarms of bad guys. Ninja, for example, will be able to use his nunchucks to juggle enemies, while Kunoichi rocks the throwing stars. Now, if you've played the original 1994 version, then you're gonna feel right at home with the Ninja Saviors. We fight through the mall, the subway station, on the freeway, and into Bangler's hideout. There are 8 stages in all, most of which will only take a few minutes to complete. This is a short but challenging game, with each completed stage unlocking a time trial that gives you a little extra incentive to play through the game with a different character. Outside of that, you'll be able to tackle a harder difficulty and a 2-player mode, something that was lacking from the Super NES original. But even as a 16-bit beat-em-up, the Ninja Warriors was never on par with the likes of Streets of Rage or Final Fight. I mean, it was enjoyable enough, but not necessarily something you had to play in 1994. A quarter century later, I feel almost exactly the same way about this remake. It's fun, and I love what they've done to the music and visuals, but is it a must-play? Probably not. It's just a run-of-the-mill beat-em-up with some cool bosses and memorable robot heroes. It also suffers from almost all of the same problems that plague the Super NES game, such as constantly fighting enemies that hide off screen. Even with the wider 16:9 aspect ratio, the enemies like to avoid you by standing just off screen. This creates so many situations where our hero appears to be all alone, but also can't advance because Bangler's guards are too afraid to face our robot ninjas. It's also frustratingly difficult to pick up throwable objects. This is a minor point, but it does come up more often than you would expect. Look, it's impossible to know if you're going to be able to pick up an item from one moment to the next. You can be standing in the exact same spot and have 2 completely different results, and it's never clear why. These are the kinds of gameplay problems that they should have been able to fix in the last 25 years. But when it comes down to it, the Ninja Saviors is exactly what I expected it would be. It's a great looking remake with some much needed additions and not much else. This is definitely the best version of the Ninja Warriors yet, but I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get a proper sequel. It would have been nice to see Natsume expand on the original concept and not just rehash the Super NES game. This is a great upgrade of a so-so brawler. The Ninja Saviors Return of the Warriors may sound like a sequel, but it's really just an HD remake of the Super NES game from 1994. Along with upgraded visuals and music, we also get a new multiplayer mode, 2 new characters, and more moves for each fighter. That's cool and all, but the problems that plagued the Super NES original continue to show up in this remake. It's short, simple, and ultimately shallow, which will likely leave new players scratching their heads wondering what the big deal was. Look, the Ninja Saviors is enjoyable enough, but it's not necessarily a must-buy. Hey, thanks for watching our review. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new reviews and features almost every day. Also, if you still want to know more about the Ninja Warriors series, then I suggest you check out our Game Over episode, where we look at both the arcade and the Super NES sequel. Now, here's the question I have for you. What's your favorite ninja game? From Shinobi to Ninja Gaiden to those mutant turtles, there are a lot of ninja games to choose from. So let me see your picks in the comments below. In other news, we'll be back tomorrow with a review of In Between, followed by Serious Scramblers, The Beast Inside, and Null Drifter. If that sounds good to you, then I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,